He was a first-class soldier. You know Mike, he loved the Army. Couldn't wait to get over there and save the good guys and hurt the bad guys. We shouldn't send heroes to places like Iraq.
Well, we are back with Susan Saradon, and right now we're meeting her In the Valley of Ella co-star, who's an Iraq War veteran, as well as an actor. Please welcome Jake McLaughlin. Welcome, Jake. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much.
I want to shake your hand and thank you. I know that even before you started acting, you actually served for 4 years.
Yes.
And you were in Iraq, correct?
I was in Iraq,
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I was there for the initial push into Baghdad. We were in Kuwait for about 4 months before we actually went in there, which kind of seemed like it was staged almost, right?
It did.
So, yeah, we went in there, and MSNBC reporter David Bloom was embedded with my battalion on the way up there.
So did you know him?
I did know him. He was actually one of the biggest helps to us. We didn't have a way to call home at all up there. We had a DSL phone. It took like 8 hours to try to get through, and he had a Ford F-450 pickup satellite truck that he had over there, and he hooked up about 8 or 9 phones to it. He personally did that. He didn't have to. He just did it out of the kindness of his heart, and let all of us soldiers, we'd rotate through every couple of weeks and be able to call home, which was huge, not only to us, but to our families, to be able to, because they didn't know what was going on. And it was especially important when the war, after we'd gone into Baghdad, and what you guys were watching on the news. I wasn't there, so I don't know what you guys were seeing on the news, but it was pretty amazing to be able to call home and then let them know that you're okay, because there was no way for them to know.
On both sides. Do you have friends that are there now that you're in touch with?
I do have friends that actually, yes, I do, and I have one of the subjects that I was actually going to bring up earlier was people are talking about the post-traumatic stress of soldiers and the transition coming back from the war. I'll tell you about that in a second. Another issue that's a big issue that should be addressed as well is the redeployment of the soldiers that are going over there that are already injured. The soldiers that aren't fit for combat, that they're sending over there just to have the numbers over there, and that's a big factor that it's not addressed as much as it should be. But they're both two really big issues as far as...
Let me slide you in a different direction a little bit, just because I'm very curious. So you're in Iraq, you say, you know what I think I might do when I go back?
I'm just going to go ahead and ask. I'm like Forrest Gump. I just do what people tell me to.
How did that... Was this something you wanted to do when you were a kid, or how did this come about?
I think I was talking to my uncle the other night. I think I've probably spent 2 years of my life watching movies, honestly. It's what I love. I love film, and everyone's been telling me, you should go into movies and you should do this. I just never had the opportunity. I never had the means. I'm married now. I have 2 kids, so I was doing concrete work before I
Most of us were.
That old chestnut. And so no, my old next door neighbor was John Wayne's grandson, and his wife works as an assistant at the casting agency that cast the film. And she called me up and asked me told me that it was a Paul Haggis film. I didn't know, what was going on. And it's actually a long, drawn-out story, but I'll make it short. So I went down and auditioned, broke. I was about to try to sell my truck to try to make rent, and I just had my son, or my wife had my son. I went in and auditioned on a Friday, came back that Monday and auditioned for Paul, and I found out a few days later that I got the role.
Jake, in this movie you play the platoon buddy of Susan's missing son.
Yes.
Did you feel that it was accurate in the portrayal about what was going on because you served?
Well, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, the accuracy of the film, in every aspect of the military side of the film is spot on. When we were in Morocco shooting the scenes that you see, in the film of us over there, Paul kind of just stopped and he said, "All right, everyone, listen to what Jake's telling you. He's going to show you how to clear a building and go through and just listen to what he says." So it was kind of that was a very neat thing. So obviously the accuracy of that aspect of the film was great, and I think it comes through in the film, the camaraderie that we had between us, as though we were actually in a squad together.
I just wanted to ask one thing, just because you say that you have 2 children, a son or
a son? Yeah, he just turned 1 last month.
Oh, he just turned 1.
Yes.
I have a 2-year-old son. What would you tell your son about going into the war if he wanted to do that?
I'd tell him about it. I just tell him that if your kid's gonna do what they want to when they grow up. I just like to raise them with a good head on his shoulders is the best I can do. With good moral values, and that's probably about the best I can do for him.
Amen to that. Now, I'm sure, obviously, working with Susan, I think this is a very interesting pairing because you coming into the world of acting and then Susan being so, I'm always impressed with how engaged you are into really getting to the bottom of what's going on politically and in the world. You do, but and we don't always agree, but I applaud that.
It's not a political thing. I just feel like if I'm not ready to send my kids and there weren't enough answers to my questions, then I don't want anybody else's kids to go. It's as simple as that.
But I think, and we don't always agree, but I think I really do. I love how active you are in the pursuit of finding the truth of it, and I'm sure even working with Jake here, even just getting insight of how things are there for a soldier had to open your eyes to something new, correct?
Well, I'd already been up on that. This is the frustration. Let me just tell you as quickly as I can. I went way before this movie, up to Washington right after the State of the Union, and because I had a documentary Patricia Folkart did where a lot of vets talk about their trip over, how excited they were to get over, what they dealt with while they were there, and then what's happened since they've gotten back. And we thought, wouldn't it be great to give out some of this documentary to people that aren't there, who are making these decisions, but they have no idea really what's going on. Let them see the documentary before they vote. I went up and let them listen to some vets. There were 5 guys, very articulate, all from different kind of backgrounds, different politics, whatever, talking about their needs, talking about what's happening, talking about their difficulties. Press. We spent an entire day up there. This is the headlines the next day. Somebody said to me, what did you think of the State of the Union? I said, I'm bored with hearing the State of the Union. It's the same State of the Union I'm hearing every year. Nobody's talking about these guys. Nobody's talking about Katrina, blah, 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 blah. This was the coverage of this event. Saradon bored with State of the Union.
Well, let me tell you that.
No mention of the guys. Not one mention of the guys.
But you know what? The two of you have been working really hard. I don't think this is a maybe-see. This is a must-see. There are a lot of questions that can be answered, and I just want to applaud your efforts, not only in the film, but for our country.
Google veterans if you want to help. There's tons of organizations that are run by veterans. Give an hour, this, whatever. Take your people home that are in these hospitals. But go online. There's so many veterans organizations that have been started.
And even after you do that, see this film, and the Valley of Elah opens in select theaters this Friday and nationwide September 21st. We will be right back. Thank you.